Welcome back to Decentralized Application Development Crashcasts. I'm Sheila, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Victor. Before we dive in, I want to remind our listeners that your feedback means the world to us. If you're enjoying the show, please take a moment to rate us on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us reach more developers like you.
Absolutely, Sheila. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you the best content on decentralized systems. Now, let's get into today's topic. We're continuing our journey through Chapter 4, Decentralized Storage Systems, and we'll be exploring other decentralized storage solutions beyond IPFS, which we covered in our last episode.
That's right, Victor. And to kick things off, I've got a brain teaser for our listeners. Here's the quiz question. According to recent market research, what is the projected market size for the global decentralized storage market by 2030? Is it A, $10 billion, B, $50 billion, or C, $100 billion soon?
Ooh, that's an intriguing question, Sheila. It really makes you think about the potential growth in this space. I'm curious to see what our listeners will guess. The decentralized storage market is definitely gaining traction, but it's still a relatively new concept for many. It'll be interesting to see how close their estimates are to the actual projections.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive into the various solutions, let's quickly recap what we mean by decentralized storage. Victor, could you give us a brief overview?
Certainly. Decentralized storage refers to a system where data is stored across multiple nodes in a peer-to-peer network, rather than in a centralized server. This approach offers benefits like increased security, redundancy, and resistance to censorship. We've already discussed IPFS, but there are several other players in this space that we'll explore today.
Great explanation. So, let's start with one of the more well-known solutions, Sia. What can you tell us about it?
Sia is an interesting platform that leverages blockchain technology to create a decentralized storage marketplace. For those unfamiliar, blockchain is a digital ledger that securely records transactions across a network of computers. Sia allows users to rent out their unused hard drive space to others who need storage. What makes Sia unique is its use of smart contracts to manage these storage agreements, ensuring that hosts are paid for their services and renters get the storage they need.
That sounds fascinating. So it's like Airbnb for hard drive space, right? How does it compare to traditional cloud storage solutions?
That's a great analogy, Sheila. Yes, you can think of Sia as Airbnb for storage. Compared to traditional cloud storage like Amazon S3 or Google Cloud Storage, Sia aims to be significantly cheaper. This is because it taps into unused storage capacity that people already have, rather than building massive data centers. However, it's worth noting that retrieval speeds can be slower than centralized solutions, especially for less popular files.
I see. Now, I've also heard about Storj. How does that differ from Sia?
Storj is another decentralized storage platform, but it takes a slightly different approach. While Sia uses its own blockchain, Storj is built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. Storj also focuses more on enterprise use cases and offers features like easy integration with existing applications through its S3-compatible API.
That's interesting. So a developer could potentially switch from Amazon S3 to Storj without major code changes?
Exactly. That's one of Storj's main selling points. It lowers the barrier to entry for businesses that want to try decentralized storage. However, it's important to note that while the API might be similar, there are still differences in performance characteristics and pricing models that developers need to consider.
Got it. Now, let's talk about Filecoin. I remember hearing a lot of buzz about it a few years ago. What makes it special?
Filecoin is indeed a major player in this space. It was created by Protocol Labs, the same team behind IPFS. In fact, Filecoin can be thought of as an incentive layer on top of IPFS. It uses a novel concept called Proof-of-Replication to verify that data is being stored correctly.
Proof-of-Replication? That sounds complex. Could you break it down for us?
Sure. Proof-of-Replication is a way to cryptographically prove that a specific piece of data is being stored in a unique physical storage space. It's like being able to prove that you've made a unique copy of a file rather than just pointing to someone else's copy. This helps ensure that the network has true redundancy and that storage providers are actually storing the data they claim to be storing.
Fascinating. It seems like each of these solutions has its own unique approach. Are there any other notable players we should mention?
Absolutely. One more worth mentioning is MadeSafe, which is working on something called the Safe Network. It's been in development for quite a while and takes a more holistic approach, aiming to decentralize not just storage, but computation and communication as well.
Wow, that sounds ambitious. With all these options, how would a developer choose which one to use for their project?
That's a great question, Sheila. It really depends on the specific needs of the project. If you're looking for something that's easy to integrate with existing systems, Storj might be a good choice. If you want something with a strong focus on privacy and a more comprehensive decentralized ecosystem, MadeSafe could be worth exploring. For projects that need very low-cost storage and don't mind slightly slower retrieval times, Sia could be a good fit. And if you want something that's closely integrated with IPFS and has a strong consensus mechanism, Filecoin might be the way to go.
That makes sense. It seems like there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Now, I'm curious about the challenges these platforms face. What are some of the common issues in decentralized storage?
Great point, Sheila. One of the biggest challenges is achieving a balance between decentralization, performance, and cost-effectiveness. Decentralized systems often struggle with slower data retrieval compared to centralized solutions. There's also the challenge of incentivizing network participants to provide reliable storage over long periods. And of course, there are regulatory concerns, especially when it comes to storing sensitive or copyrighted data in a decentralized manner.
Those are significant hurdles. Do you think these decentralized storage solutions will eventually replace traditional cloud storage?
That's a complex question. I don't think decentralized storage will completely replace traditional cloud storage anytime soon, but I do see it carving out a significant niche. It's particularly appealing for applications that prioritize censorship resistance, data privacy, and reduced costs. However, for applications that require very high performance or have strict regulatory requirements, traditional cloud storage will likely remain the go-to solution for the foreseeable future.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, before we wrap up, let's reveal the answer to our quiz question. The projected market size for the global decentralized storage market by 2030 is, drumroll please, B, 50 billion. That's a pretty significant number, isn't it?
Wow, that is significant. It really shows the potential growth in this space. Thanks for that interesting fact, Sheila.
You're welcome, Victor. It's clear that this is a rapidly growing field with a lot of potential. Now, let's summarize the key points we've covered today. We discussed several decentralized storage solutions, including Sia, Storj, Filecoin, and MadeSafe. Each has its own unique features and approach to decentralized storage. Sia uses a blockchain-based marketplace, Storj focuses on enterprise integration, Filecoin introduces Proof-of-Replication, and MadeSafe aims for a comprehensive decentralized network. While these solutions offer benefits like increased security and potentially lower costs, they also face challenges in terms of performance and regulatory compliance.
Excellent summary, Sheila. I think our listeners now have a good overview of the landscape of decentralized storage solutions beyond IPFS. Remember, the choice of which solution to use depends on your specific project requirements. So it's worth diving deeper into each option if you're considering implementing decentralized storage in your application.
Absolutely, Victor. And to our listeners, if you found this episode helpful, we'd love to hear from you. Visit crashcasts.com to learn more about decentralized application development, join our Discord community to discuss these topics with fellow developers, or support us on Patreon if you'd like to help us continue producing this content. Until next time, happy coding.